Hey there, my name is Kelly Dale with Off the Beaded Path. Today we are going to kind of take a step back a little bit on our 3D shapes. I kept referring earlier in some of the earlier videos to the circle, the 3D circle, and I said go back to the toggle, you'll see how to make a circle. Well, I've had a lot of requests for a video just for the circle, so that you'll have the circle, the square, the triangle, and the other stuff that we're going to have in that series. So I said, okay, before we go any further, let me do that. Let's get that back to going. So I'm going to show you how to do that and talk about a couple of other things in this video. So to do this project, I'm using a size 15 seed bead, a size 11 Delica, and a size 11 seed bead, just like I did in the toggle video. The reason you have to use the 15s is because the 15s are able to give you that little curve that you need in the very center to be able to continue out. Now, that's for a smaller circle. If you're going to make a bigger circle, like for a bracelet or something like that, or even a bigger hoop earring, you're not going to need those 15s. You can do regular 11 Delicas. But for the size we're going to need it for the project I have in mind, you're going to need those size 15 seed beads. The size 11 seed beads on the outside of our circle, you don't have to use size 11 seed beads. You can use size 11 Delicas. But to me, if I use the size 11 Delicas, I feel like the circle goes from kind of like this to this, okay? So I'm not really loving, I tried a couple of them and I'm just not loving it with the regular size 11 Delicas on that last row. So I'm going to use size 11 seed beads, just regular all 11s. So let's go ahead and get started. I've got a needle with a yard of thread, and I'm going to use a tube of seed beads or a pin or whatever you have kind of to do my loop around for my 42 seed beads. And the only other thing you're going to need besides what we've got going on is a pair of cutters or scissors or something. So let's go ahead and get started. So the very first thing I'm going to start out with is a ring of 42 size 15 seed beads. And I've gone ahead, I've double counted these, and I've tied these into a circle. So again, that's 42 size 15 seed beads. Once you have those 42 on, you can thread this onto either like an ink pen or like I'm putting it on a little tube of beads here, whatever you want to do. Now I have some people, and I talked about this in the toggle pattern. You can go through this first bead right next to the knot. The only problem you're going to have is when you get back to that bead and you get ready to step up, you will have a hard time getting through that bead. So I actually don't go through the bead here on this first step. I pick up 115, and I act like this is the 15 that I'm coming out of. This one right before the knot. So I skip 115 and then I go through the next 15. So that when I pull it, it pops right there into place like it would if I would have been coming out of this bead. So now I'm just going to continue to work around the circle. I'm going to pick up 115. I'm going to skip a 15 and go through the next 15. Pick up a 15, skip one, and go through one. And you'll continue around the circle. So I've added my last bead here, and what I'm going to do at this point is I'm going to, coming out of one, I'm going to skip one, and I'm going to go through this very last bead on the row. And see, that's what happens when you don't put your bead on there. Let me try that again. Okay, so I'm going through the last bead on the row. And now I'm going to step up. And to step up, I am simply going to go through the bead, the first bead that I added, which is going to be this bead right here. Now I'm ready for my Delicas. And all I have to do is pick up a Delica, go through the next 15 sticking up. pick up a Delica, go through the next 15 sticking up. I'm going to do this all the way around on this side. Just picking up my Delica and going through the next 15 sticking up. So I've worked my way around adding my Delicas in the 15s, and I'm going through the last bead on the row here. I'm going to stitch through at a diagonal through 2 more beads from where I'm coming out. And now I'm going to do the same thing on this side. I'm going to pick up a Delica and go through the next 15 sticking up. And I'm going to go all the way around on this one side, just picking up a Delica and going through the next 15 sticking up so that both sides are identical. I've worked my way around, and now what I'm going to do is pick up the last Delica for this row, and I'm going to go through the last 15 on the row. So it's this one right here. And at the same time, if you can go ahead and step up through the first Delica that you added in this round. And that takes care of going through the bead and your step up. And that will pop into place. Now we have to do another row. So I'm going to pick up an 11 Delica, and I'm going to go through the next Delica sticking up. And I'm going to go all the way around, just picking up one Delica and going through the next Delica sticking up. So I've gone all the way around my piece, except I've not finished out the row completely. So to finish out the row, I'm going to pick up one 11 Delica, and I'm going to go through the last Delica for this round, which is going to be this lower Delica, not the upper one, because that's the first one that we added in this round. So when you pull that, that pops into place. Now we want to stitch across and do the same thing on the other side. So at a diagonal from where I'm coming out at, I'm going to go through the 15s and then one of my 11 Delicas. So it just so happens that I can get through all those beads at one time. So I'm going to go ahead and pull that on through. And now I'm going to do a row of 11 Delicas. So I'm just going to pick up a Delica and go through the next Delica sticking up. And I'm going to do that all the way around on this side so that both sides of my toggle piece look, or not toggle, my circle piece look identical. At this point, I've worked all the way around, except for I haven't added this last bead right here. So I'm going to pick up the Delica, and I'm going to go through the last bead of the row, which is this one right here, and then up through the first bead of the row, which will be my step up. So I'm going through 2 beads here. Now I'm going to be adding my regular size 11 seed beads. I'm going to pick up an 11 and go through the next Delica. An 11, go through the next Delica. And I'm going to do this all the way around, just picking up one 11 and going through one Delica on this side. Okay, so for this step, we're only going to do the 11s just on this one side only. You do not have to do it on both sides. And as you work, this is what your piece will start to look like. Once you've worked all the way around, this is what your piece will look like. And I have stepped up through the very first 11 that I added. At this point, I'm going to kind of be squeezing the sides together so that I can start to connect. So I'm coming out of an 11 on the right hand side. I'm going to go through the Delica on the left hand side. That's the very next Delica that's sticking up. Then I'm going to go through the 11 on the right, the Delica on the left, the 11 on the right, Delica on the left. And I'm just going to continue going around the circle, doing this zigzag motion until I have the piece zipped up so that you can't see where I started and where I ended in my circle. Once you have your ring connected, then you can tie off the thread, or like me, I just stitch it through quite a few beads and then trim off the tails, so that now you have your beaded circle, you have a triangle, and you have a square to add to your repertoire. Now, one of the things you can do, you can make a little loop here on any of these beads and hang this off an earring and just be a cool little earring. You can put them on an ear hook similar to this and switch out the different rings each day, or even a smaller pair of hoops if you had a smaller pair of hoop earrings that you could do. So that just gives you a couple of different little ideas you could use with the circles until you see what I'm going to do with mine. So I hope this helps you with the beaded circle, the three-dimensional circle. Just a quick little FYI, I do have the written pattern and kits available for these on our website, which is offthebeadedpathbeadstore.com. And when you purchase the kit comes with enough beads in it to make 2 of these little rings. They're just like the square and the triangle kits that we've had. They do not come with the pattern, so that they're a lot cheaper, and it just comes with the beads to make 2. So thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next week when we're going to learn another new shape. Have a great week. Bye-bye.